So while I have said I will never become a manga channel, when it comes to Vikings, I only have one thing to say: Skål! Hey, what's up, bookworms and manga readers? Mike back today to talk a little more manga on the channel for a change, because guys, I read this series and I was just completely blown away. And I'm talking, of course, about Vinland Saga. Now, this is by, I can never say his name right, Makoto Yukimura. I know that's probably wrong. That's what I've been saying. So I'll just refer to him as MY, the rest of this review. This is going to be a review, guys, for the entire first arc of this series, which is kind of known as Prologue / War. And here's the thing: is unlike Berserk, guys, this doesn't really have like an official listing of arcs. So I don't know if this is something like fans have made up or what, but basically it's chapters 1 through 54. And in that volume, volume 4 here of the ones that I'm going off of, I don't know how many trays these have in each one of them, but these are the versions that I have. And in this one, it finally has one that just says end of Prologue. And I think that's kind of where everybody said that's kind of the end of that arc, because there is a very big seminal moment which signifies the end of that. But I read all 4 of these guys in like a day and a half, and that tells you kind of how I felt about this series. And I just could not wait to talk about it, so that's what we're going to do today. So this began in 2005. It is still running. The arc that I'm talking about, I think, went through 2009, and I think it's been pretty unanimously loved by fans and the community. So we are going to kind of talk about that. If you don't know what Vinland Saga is, historical fiction. It is pretty much just set place in like 10th century Scandinavia, which is something that I always cannot get enough of. I love me some Viking stuff. Bring it all forward to me, because I love it, and this is no different, guys. So it's when I did my series back, gosh, about a year ago, I said when I finished Berserk, here's some series that I want to start next. And Vinland Saga was number 1 on that list. So it's been a long time coming, and it was absolutely worth the wait. And we're going to kind of talk about why it met those expectations, outside of just me loving anything that has to do with like Norse saga, or like I said, anything Vikings related. But before that, guys, let's go ahead and talk about what is this series about. Now, as a child, Thorfinn sat at the feet of the great Leif Erikson and thrilled to wild tales of a land far to the west. But his youthful fantasies were shattered by a mercenary raid. Raised by the Vikings who murdered his family, Thorfinn became a terrifying warrior, forever seeking to kill the band's leader, Askeladd, and avenge his father. As the Viking invasion of London has reached a fever pitch and Askeladd and Thorfinn rush to take part in the carnage, their goal is to capture Canute, the son of King Sweyn Forkbeard and heir to the throne of Scandinavia and Danelaw. But standing in their way is Thorkel, one of the Viking world's most daring warriors. The defeat of a living legend will be a formidable test for Askeladd's cunning and Thorfinn's ruthlessness, and of their ability to set aside personal grudges and fell a common enemy. But sustaining Thorfinn through his ordeal are his pride in his family and his dreams of a fertile westward land, a land without war or slavery, the land that Leif called Vinland. Guys, that is Vinland Saga. Very, very excited to get into what makes this good or bad. I'm going to start with the good because, guys, there's a ton of it. First up, I gotta say, the story. The story of this is absolutely fantastic. Look, I am a sucker. I grew up reading The Count of Monte Cristo. It's one of my favorite classic books. So anything revenge related, obviously, you've already got me at that point. Something else I love is Vikings and the coming of age story, guys. This very much has all of these things in it through this arc. So watching Thorfinn grow up on this ship next to the guy that he's just basically wants to fight the whole time. And the thing is, he wants to do it in an honorable way. You know, he could just sneak up and slit this guy's throat anytime he wanted, maybe. But here's the thing, he wants to do it with honor. He wants to do it as a duel. So he's fighting for this group on this Viking longboat, just basically trying to earn favor enough with this leader to say he will grant him a duel if he does this for him. And he becomes just like a crazy good like assassin warrior in the process. Such a neat idea. and I just love it. Because I mean, look, guys, it's hard not to like a character that, look, can be kind of like edgelordy sometimes. I think that some people would say that, but with me, it's like, but he doesn't forget his honor. You know, like I said, if he was just an edgelord, he would go up and just try to just like kill him any chance, stab him in the back anytime he had an opportunity to. No, he wants to face him and do it the right way. Know that he did it the right way. Look at him in the eyes while he does it. I think that's just a great, fascinating story. So who doesn't love a revenge tale, you know, trying to avenge someone's father? I'm a sucker for that. I love like The Princess Bride, things like that. If you grew up watching fantasy or reading fantasy, I think that that's something that you're always going to be excited to read, and it's no different here. But it's not just the current storyline, guys. This has flashbacks too, and those flashbacks are amazing. Seeing his father, Thor's, who, look, if I'm saying these names wrong, guys, I've never heard them said out loud. I haven't watched the anime. I don't watch anime, sorry. Even though this one looks really awesome, I haven't watched it, so I don't know if I'm saying the names right. I've never heard them said out loud, like I said, so I'm just going to say them the way that I read them. First I was saying Tors, but I was like, but then when you say Thorfinn, so Thorfinn equals Thors. So with Thors, seeing that this guy can pretty much wipe the ship deck with anyone he wants to, you know, but he's past that life, you know, he's been there, he's done that. He wants to be a family man now and raise his children, and seeing, you know, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in, seeing those moments, but yet he's still different than the old Jean Viking that everybody remembers. So that's a really, really cool stuff. It has some of the coolest panels in this entire series so far that I've seen was with some of the stuff that Thors is actually able to do while in action. But it's not just that he's a badass. I mean, the guy is full of wisdom. I mean, some of the things that he says to young Thorfinn is just spectacular. So right away, I gotta say that MY's writing is very, very good. I love his dialogue. I'm not sure how much of this translation comes over when they translate these things for American audiences. I'm not sure how much is accurate to the way it was originally written or not, but if so, whoever did the translation, very, very good. I'm very much enjoying it. So I love anytime you get some flashbacks to the father and son, like I said, seeing a little more of that coming of age, because it really does do, you know, from when he's like a toddler, like 4 or 5, to when he's a preteen. You know, so you kind of get to fill in the gaps a little bit in between those times. So I love that. Another thing, guys, is just I love the characters. It isn't just Thorfinn. It isn't just Thor's in flashbacks. It isn't just Askeladd. The side characters in this are all really, really good. Some of them, some that really just, they have short page counts, are extremely memorable. And that's so incredibly well done. I mean, obviously Thorfinn and Askeladd kind of dominate this arc quite a bit. But Ragnar, Bjorn, Thorkel, Knut, King Sweyn, Floki, I think they all have some really good arcs in this first little arc here. So they have good character arcs in this arc here. So I really appreciate that he's spending this much time making me give a damn about these side characters. And I feel like that's something that Berserk did really well in the Golden Age era, was making me care about those side characters. I feel like this is doing the same thing here. So I'm very, very excited about where this is leading, because he seems like he really is putting some work into his characters when he could just be like, hey, cool, Vikings. I know that most people are already on board with this, but look, they're more than just Vikings. They got some depth to them, and I do appreciate that. Even if someone like Thorkel's just well, I just say he's a laugh riot, I think, quite a bit, but it's really, really good. I think you can't really talk about any manga really without talking about the art. Now, the art in this, coming off of Berserk, where I've said that Kentaro Miura, I think he does splash pages better than anyone I've ever seen in my life. Obviously, I don't think that MY's his art is as good as Kentaro Miura, but that's just too high of a bar. It's not really fair. What I will say about the art in this is, I thought it started good, and I got to the point to the end of this arc, I thought it was amazing. So I think over the time, I could see how this guy's art was improving over this first 5 years of writing this story. And by book number 4 here, I felt like the art was just incredible as anything else that I've seen. So I've seen some people say like the big down thing that they put on the series, that the art isn't kind of up to standards. I mean, yeah, if you're comparing it to Kentaro Miura, which is one of the greatest artists I've seen in the medium, then yeah, it's probably unfair. But on its own right, I think it's absolutely beautiful. But like I said, as the time has went on, I think his art has just gotten better and better and better, and it always continues to be improving. And for all I know, when I get into later volumes of this, it might get even better. And if that's the case, I mean, the sky is the limit for this guy as an artist. But I think as a writer, I'm just absolutely blown away by what he's able to do. So look, I was like, I'm not going to lie, you have Vikings, I'm already interested, but it's going to take character work to keep me there, and he's doing a great job with that. But it isn't just that. The action, guys, you can't talk about a series like this and not talk about the action. The action is incredibly drawn, well-paced, and always easy to understand. There are some moments in some other comics and manga that I've read where I feel like the action is just so sporadic, I don't even understand exactly what's going on, per se, but with this, you always kind of know what's going on, and I feel like he really shows some of these duels, these one-on-ones, perfectly the way that he paces them. So that's something that is a talent for sure, and it really makes for some good fast reading, because I did read these really quick, because I think a good thing here is he doesn't dominate the page with text bubbles. I have no problems with dialogue. Obviously, I want some dialogue. As someone who is a written word person before I do manga or comics, obviously I appreciate that. But like my criticism of like some modern US comics is so much text, where I'm like, my man, if you want to just write a story, write a book. This is a visual medium. Let the pictures tell the story. So I feel like it's a good balance between the two. He never lets the dialogue just really kind of take over. There's never huge amounts of text on each page. And he does let the visuals tell the story in all these action scenes here, but he will have some good dialogue when some people are fighting. Like I think one big duel that takes place in this where there is some really just great dialogue. I really do appreciate it. But seeing that art, like I said, improve over this, and the dialogue improve as I keep going over this, I think the sky is the limit for the series. I can't wait to see what's coming. But guys, the battles in this are second to none. I think some of that, more than just the duels, the large scale battles are just excellent. There's some sieges. I mean, you got some Vikings, you're going to have some sieges, right? And there's some great stuff in there. So again, I'm flabbergasted here, because I'm just kind of blown away by how much I really enjoyed this, because it seems like just about any series, it's going to take a little bit for you to get into. I was into this, guys, in the first few pages, and it really did grab me, and it never let me go for this whole run here. The fact where I wanted to keep reading, but I wanted to talk about this arc before I moved on to the next one. But oh my God, guys, the twists in this. There are some real, like, shocking, oh shit moments in this first arc. And every time I thought I knew where it was going, completely took me by surprise. So I definitely think that it's not predictable. It's definitely not anything I can call predictable. And no one's safe. That's the big thing here is, again, with the cast this big, there's going to be a body count. These are, Vikings pretty much were in war from birth to death. They really were. And most of them did die in war and battle. So seeing that, you're going to expect a body count, but it doesn't mean that when they happen that they don't have any weight to them. They do, and I think it's because he's so good at some of the character work. So yeah, some of the deaths in this really did get me. So there is no perfect story, right? So what is the not so good or the bad about this? Nothing. I've got nothing, guys. I think this was as perfect of a start as I've ever seen in a comic series. Ever. Yes. Ever. I've never seen anything start this electric. I mean, what would the bad be? The art isn't as good as some of the best in the business. I mean, would that be a bad thing? I guess that really isn't something for me. Like, again, I don't think that the art was bad, so I don't really have any problem with that. But really, I think that that's just because no one has any criticisms of the beginning of the story here. So that's like the one that they fall back to. I mean, maybe if you're not into Vikings, I don't know why you'd be reading this story or watching this review if you're not at least somewhat interested in Vikings. So I mean, this is as perfect of a start as you can have here. I'm not going to lie, guys. When you're talking about the first 54 chapters, I like the first 54 chapters of this better than I like the first 54 chapters of Berserk, which I loved. So that tells you how incredible a job I think that this has had. The start here has just been otherworldly, to where I have nothing bad to say. I really can't think of anything bad to say, because I had to stop reading, before I could do this review. So yeah, zero wasted time in this first arc, and yeah, props. I've never had anything on this channel where I've not been able to say something bad about it. So there's a first time for everything, guys. So there it is. So why should you guys read this? I think besides me saying it's basically perfect, I don't know what other kind of a sales job you need. I think if you love stuff like The Last Kingdom, you just saw The Northmen, you really like that, you watched Vikings on History Channel, this is going to be your jam. You're going to be right at home with this. I think about The Last Kingdom, There's a bit where Uhtred is on a slave ship with Finan for like a couple years. I think there's something like that, but almost like also in The Last Kingdom where it's like you see where Uhtred is a kid and then, he falls in the water and he comes up and he's the adult. This kind of feels like it was something to be like filling in the blanks of that. I really do feel like maybe this could be like, preteen Uhtred. I think it's a lot more revenge-based than that. But I think that if you like something like The Last Kingdom, I don't see any way under God you're not going to like the story. I think you're going to really, really connect with it. But if you're just fascinated with 9th through like 11th century Scandinavia like I am, I mean, this is everything you're going to be looking for. This has it all. And here's the thing, guys. I don't care if you don't like manga. I don't care if you don't like comics. This feels like it kind of transcends that if you're into these things. If you're really, really into those shows, you're really, really into Viking culture and Scandinavia, I think that you're going to be in heaven here. It really is easy to read. It's accessible for just about anyone. But if you are into those things, this is going to be everything that you've been looking for. And you're going to be very, very excited and happy that you started it. But look, guys, great character work, incredible storyline, mesmerizing art. Again, as perfect of a start as you can have. I was never bored for a single frame of this first 54 chapters. So, final thoughts, guys. Look, this was way better than I even expected to be. I expected to like it. Everyone, since I started first saying that, okay, I would finally break and I would read some manga. Everyone's been saying, yeah, I think Vinland Saga is going to be your jam. Not only were they right, they knocked that one out of the park. That was perfect analysis for me, guys, because this is everything that I want in the medium. It has it all. I cannot say enough about it. If it checked all the boxes for what I want to see in a Viking story, in a coming-of-age story, in a revenge story, it has everything here, guys. And I think back to watching The Northman. I'm like, I'm starting to think Robert Eggers really liked Vinland Saga, because I think a lot of that in this here. So, like I said, I know it's going to be controversial. Some people that say that I like it better than I did Berserk at this point. Now, look, I still think the Golden Age is probably still on top of it, but that's like 1A, 1B. That's how good this start is. I really, really do believe that. So, I mean, you guys heard me say that I thought that the Golden Age was one of the best coming-of-age stories I've ever read in fantasy. So that tells you kind of how high I'm putting this on a pedestal here. So with this, how this arc ends, I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm anxious to do so. I only have volumes 5 and 6. I don't know how long the next arc is. I believe it's called Farmland, or the Slave arc. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I don't know if these arcs are actually official or fan-based. I don't want to Google it because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, I'm kind of, you want to drop in the comments and tell me what the next arc is. I would appreciate that. So I know how many of these volumes I need to buy, because I don't want to start the next arc and not be able to finish it, because if it reads half as fast as this did, yeah, I'm going to have a new favorite manga of all time, I think. So with my thing with this, guys, is with how poorly my most recent Berserk arc reviews did on the channel, because I'm not a manga channel. That's not what my audience is here for. I was just really excited to talk about this one. I'm not going to talk about spoilers. If I have a good feedback on this and people really, really, really want to see that, then maybe I'll do that. But as of right now, like I said, I'm not really the channel for stuff like that. But I mean, I wouldn't mind talking spoilers about this, because there's some crazy, crazy stuff in it for sure. But that's why I don't have spoilers in this video. This is really more of a trying to convince people, even if you don't like manga, to give this a try. I think this is going to be kind of something that transcends all of that. So leave the feedback on that. As far as people who don't want me covering manga on the channel, like I said, guys, 3 or 4 videos a year, I think, will be about all I do. And it doesn't hurt my feelings any if you don't watch those. Always going to get some crossover with things like this. And then it's just going to be people who are mad that I don't talk about manga more. But like I said, I think judging off how my last Berserk video did, I think most of those fans have moved on, realizing that I'm never going to be that channel. But, you know, I think that there's some things that I want to talk about that's kind of outside of the comfort zone of my viewers, and I'm going to continue to do that, because when it's something like this, I just want to share the love, guys, because this is phenomenal, and you really, really need to give it a try. So I'd say pick up the first 2 omnibus right now if you haven't, because I think you're going to want to, as soon as you finish that first one, you're going to want to keep going, because it's just that good, guys. So that's all I got, guys. Vinland Saga, again, as perfect of a start as I have ever seen in the medium, and that is not hyperbole. So drop in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think about this arc of Vinland Saga. Please, no spoilers for anything after this, not just for myself who haven't read it, but maybe other people who are interested in reading the series and don't want to be spoiled. So drop in the comments below and let me know what you think. And if you want to let me know about those arcs, I really would appreciate it. So thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you down below.